What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Keegan and Company podcast, Spiral Up Diaries edition, where we do a deep dive into the week that was and just all the little tools, tips, and strategies and projects that we've been working on and doing in my own personal life that I guess promotes positive mental health. In this episode, we're going to touch on the Today Show that we featured last week, which was so surreal, so awesome. Definitely the biggest platform that I'd featured on to date. We're going to talk about the Road to Ironman series or training diaries that is currently live. We're only 3 weeks away from my first 70.3, which I'm a little bit nervous about. We're going to talk about two podcast episodes that recently went live with the owner of LSKD, Jason Daniels, and head of partnerships, Kieran, Big Kizza, and then go into a cool little event that's happening at the end of the month, Rosebud Thorn. And then I've got this really cool little quote that kind of wraps everything up together. And kind of where we're sitting in life at the moment. But I do want to start with Today's Show. Today's Show, you might have seen the clips if you follow us on socials on Keegan Hipgrave or Keegan and Company. When we announced the major marathon project to run every major marathon in the world, so that's London, Boston, Tokyo, Chicago, Berlin, and New York. A big part of it is how do we get our eyeballs on this? How do we grow this project and get just more awareness to it, because we have a goal of raising $100,000 for Movember. So if you are listening to this and if you want to support us in any way, you can head to our socials, Keegan and Company. I try not to ask a lot of you guys, but it does go to a really great place with Movember. Mental health is we're obviously a mental health podcast, and mental health is so prominent in community. It's still the, biggest cause of death for men ages 17 to 44 with suicide and prostate cancer and testicular cancer as well, as what they lean on. So as part of launching this whole project, we jumped on the Today Show. I gave Danica a call a little while ago and just to see if they were interested, and they said, oh, that's so awesome. Professional background with rugby league, and then moving into this space and still doing hard things, but tying it to a charity they really loved. And it was cool to get around Sarah and Carl's so funny. He said he said I was a beautiful man and had a beautiful rig, which I'm unsure about, but I'll take it. I don't get too many compliments like that. But it was really beautiful. It was really awesome to hang out with the crew and spend the morning with them. That clip's all live on social, so you can check it out. But I don't want to leave a quote with you because I still got a little bit I want to talk through, but this quote that was by Steve Jobs, I actually have it as one of my screensavers in my phone. I can flick through screensavers on my iPhone, but essentially what it says is, your time is limited, so don't waste it living somebody else's life. Don't get trapped by dogma, which is the result of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of other people's opinions drown out your inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. That they already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. I love that. I heard that a little while ago, and obviously that's why I made it my wallpaper. And I think it's such a beautiful thing, because when you can live in alignment with your values and what you actually want to do, everything is effortless and you're in flow, and flow is that's when you're probably the most present, and that's the most beautiful place to be. We can get spiral up. The Spiral Up Diaries is literally about being present and focusing on the good, compared to spiraling out of control. So I want to put that on your radar. And yeah, I'll link it in the show notes, because that is such an awesome quote. And it ties into everything that we're doing with the podcast and the marathon project. I feel like I've been in situations, jobs before where I love them. I really love them, but I was working for somebody else's dream and doing somebody else's life, and now I can build this really beautiful thing that's something that I'm really passionate about, and that just aligns with my own values of helping people, helping friends, helping family, helping mates in the mental health space. And what are all the tools that help us? It's training, it's nutrition, it's connection, it's friendship, it's doing all these things that we promote in our YouTube series and in our podcast. And So yeah, that's all the stuff there. But the Road to Ironman, the one that went live last week, was a training with a BPN athlete, Bailey O'Brien. Bailey was just incredible. He's grown his socials from 4,000 last year to now over 120,000. Same thing. In the podcast, that will go live this week. The YouTube went live last week. The podcast will go live this week. He just talks about how he became a BPN athlete and how he was obsessed, and how, he went over to Austin, and then he just randomly ran into Lucy Davis and Fons, who are both BPN athletes. They ended up giving him a tour of the BPN facility, and it was just incredible. And he just really dived in. And then when he said before they left, they jumped on a call and they offered him a job, not a job, but like a chance to be a part of it. They're like, we see you as Apple stock when it first started. That's what he said to us when we were having coffee. So there was so many really beautiful bits. The podcast is great because it talks about his story and how he got there, but the YouTube is like the training and all the little behind the scenes, and kind of like, if you're interested in knowing like what we talk about when we're training or if we're doing anything like that, that's probably where you want to go. In the podcast space, we had owner of LSKD, Jason Daniels, and Kizza, Big Kiz, head of partnerships at Movember. We did a double upload this week because they were both just really beautiful conversations, and we're in the thick of Movember. We did it at Queen's Wharf, which ties into an event that is happening later this month on the 29th of November, which is more than a run. It is probably one of the biggest running events in Australia, potentially the world. Essentially all these run clubs run at the same time all around the world. There's a 10K option, a 30K option, and a 60K option. I'll be emceeing the day in Brisbane. Essentially it's a 3-kilometer loop, and you just loop in, which is cool because it means you get to vibe, means you get to like see other people who are on the track, which is really cool. So you can go, like you can register and you can come down. All proceeds go to Movember again. So it's cool that we're all like kind of linked up together. Rosebud Thorn, excuse my vocab, I'm very tired at the minute. Rosebud Thorn rose today's show, obviously for all the reasons. Thorn, I don't have a thorn. I don't really have, probably being away from my partner. I'm only away for a couple days, but I miss her. Yeah. If I'm being open and vulnerable on this thing, I'm here working late and all day, and I just miss her. So nice little reminder, if you're at home, tell your partner and your kids and your family you love them, because it's really nice when you're there, and sometimes we take it for granted. But the thorn, I watched a really interesting documentary recently. It's called Project Iceman, but essentially a 2-hour doco about this guy who did the first ever Ironman in Antarctica. And I'm obviously curious about it because I've got my first Ironman coming up, and I just watched it and I was curious, and it sparks all the thoughts around, I think like this last year I've had all these thoughts around like taking ceilings away, and I was like, we can do anything we want. It's just how hard you're willing to push for it, and how much you really want it, and how much it aligns with your own values. If it aligns with your values and you ask yourself, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this? And keep going down a level, and you really find out if it's really something you really want to do, then you'll make it happen. Not to say that I'm going to do an Ironman in Antarctica because that's so gnarly, but it definitely gets you thinking about what you really want to do. Maybe we will do one in Antarctica. Who knows? There's no ceilings. But anyway, that's us, guys. Hope you enjoy these little 5-10 minute episodes. It's just kind of like little weekly check-in. I like the quotes. I like including the quotes. I think that's a really beautiful, nice addition that I want to start doing more of. It's actually makes me reflect. If you have any really good quotes, can you send them through to us? Wherever you listen to this, whether it's YouTube or Spotify or Apple, there's obviously a place to hit that little comment section. So if you could put in your favorite quote or send me a DM on Instagram, it's me behind it. I'd love to hear. Maybe I'll start posting a couple quotes on the grid. Anyway, have a beautiful week. Happy Monday morning, and let's get after it, crew. Yeah.